He says here.
Spent an entire day in a hearing, and this Republican majority was not at all interested in addressing comprehensive immigration reform, which is what we need in this country. And instead, they simply attacked 3 Democratic governors who are all trying to deal with the failures of this Congress. Look, the Republicans have a bare majority in the House of Representatives, and they control the government. They should work with Democrats to get this reform done. They should have listened to us about the challenges that we have in dealing with their failures, but they did not. It was just attack after attack, and it's too bad. We had an awful lot to offer.
Was this hearing a waste of time?
This hearing was a demonstration of just how bad this Republican-controlled Congress really is. Again, nothing accomplished, an entire day of just harping on something that, frankly, most of which was false. And would I say it's a waste? I think this entire Republican-controlled Congress is a waste.
Congressman, during our hearing, we all learned that there was an incident with California Senator Alex Padilla at DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference in L.A. I wanted to see if you had a reaction to that.
You know, the governors here showed an awful lot of respect for the people in the hearing room, the Congress, the Constitution, by showing up, answering questions the way we did. They showed no respect about the attack on Senator Padilla. Senator Padilla, all he wanted was just answers to questions. He went into a press conference that Kristi Noem was running, tried to ask questions, and instead was thrown down to the ground and handcuffed. I mean, this is Donald Trump's America, where they take a Democratic senator, throw him down on the ground, and handcuff him for just wanting answers that his constituents need for him to do the job.
Governor, any surprises of things that you were questioned? And also, there was some talk about charges, Department of Justice, obstruction. Are you concerned about anything like that, any sort of retribution after this?
Surprises, no. I mean, I think, but if there's anything surprising, it's frankly just how many of the parade of horribles in the Republican Congress there are on this committee. But other than that, no, I'm not concerned about the things that were said by them.
Does Mary Miller lead the parade of horribles on this committee?
Mary Miller is a terrible congresswoman for her district. She literally brings nothing home to the district. She does not believe in doing things for her constituents, and instead all she does is attack, attack, attack. She does that on her Twitter account. She does that on her Facebook account. She barely shows up for her constituents and almost never wants to engage in conversation about actual policies that will help the people of her district.
Governor, going into the midterms in 2026, is immigration the one issue that Democrats are going to unite behind so they try to find their voice going forward?
We're focused on affordability, on making sure that people can, frankly, pay for eggs at the grocery store, making sure that people can afford health care, that we raise the minimum wage. We Democrats want to raise the minimum wage. $7.25 federal minimum wage is not nearly enough. That's $14,000 a year. A single person can no longer live on $14,000 a year, and it's been, what, 15 or more years since we've raised the minimum wage? That's one example of what Democrats want to do. What do Republicans want to do? Well, if you ask most Republicans, they don't want to raise the minimum wage. In fact, many of them would like to get rid of the minimum wage. That will mean lower wages for people across the United States. So we're going to be talking about affordability and what's best for the working class, the middle class, and the most vulnerable in this country. They're cutting Medicaid and Medicare. They're cutting SNAP. This Congress cares not a whit about working people.
Is there any updates to the Trust Act you would consider?
Look, we have made updates to the Trust Act. One thing I can tell you is a bipartisan act that was passed by a governor. He signed it back in 2017, a Republican governor. I think the Trust Act has done the work that it's supposed to do in an environment in which the federal government is not doing its job. And you heard me. I said to Congressman LaHood, do your job. And I say that to all members of the Congress. It is time for comprehensive immigration reform.
Thank you, press.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor.